It's been 10 years since Donald Trump rode down the escalator. It was an escalator so shiny and gold it gave William Devane a 14-karat boner. We didn't know it, but on that day, politics changed forever. And it may be the most monumental TV moment ever, at least since Evel Knievel jumped over the cast of The View. But there, Trump was blunt, harsh even. We never heard someone state our problems so clearly. He wasn't like the old politicians. Sure, he'd call Rosie O'Donnell a dog, but he wouldn't eat one or strap one to a car. Like those two guys, in case you don't remember. All right, fine. And when the media saw it, they deemed him a clown. But it turns out they were the ones wearing red noses, giant shoes, and shoveling elephant.
Tyrus, do you think she's done? She's doing this. She's like, everybody.
She was done. Was it November 25th? She's been done for a while. She just doesn't know it. How dare she? Like, are you? I'm sorry. If someone gives me $100, I'll say something nice about them. If a group of people said, "Hey, look, we're going to let you run for the greatest job in the world. Do I have to compete against?" No, we're just going to give it to you. Cool. And well, how am I going to pay for all this? Don't worry, we're going to give you $1 billion. Like she was on a game show called How to Be President. Yeah. Like she had it handed to her, every possible thing. It is, Kamala. No, it is 1,000% your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You up. You can't have. And how terrible you want to blame it on the gay guy. That's just terrible.
She
just
almost
wanna blame
him,
yeah,
but she didn't.
Yeah, it's just, it goes on and on.
I'm almost critical of trans, but I didn't.
No, she didn't write this book. She's catching up on it just like the excerpts come out. She's like, what'd I say?
Yep.
So no one is ever going to cut her a check again.
Yeah.
So she's going to have to do scorched earth because you got $1 billion and you owe $20 million on top of that. Your fault.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror.
I can't wait till she finds out that she did this.
Yeah. Who wrote this book? James. Kind of nice to see Trump and Musk there bearing the hatchet. That's what Charlie wanted.
Yeah. They wanted it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They needed. They needed.
But you needed. This is the difference.
One to text
Man,
first.
like if two guys are feuding, we will not be like, I'm sorry if you're sorry. You know, and someone else has to come like, you two sit down and let's just get this over with. Like shake hands and move on. You know, and they did it. They're like, hey, all right, cool. And that's good, and that's a good thing. That's what's supposed to happen at funerals. The grievances are put aside. You come together for a common good. You show your respects, and you have a better understanding and appreciation for the life that you have. So I think that's the message there. And those are two of the biggest egos, pound for pound, on the planet.
Yeah.
And they were both humbled, you know. And I think this was probably the first time that I've seen an event that Trump wasn't the focus of in probably the last 10 years. So that's how big the movement was. Right. And the most important thing is to remember the message. It's not remember if his wife is willing to forgive the person who murdered her husband in cold blood, that's the bar that she's setting. And I think that message is going out. And hopefully it just won't be on someone who votes right. I hope that people get it and start to think like, you know what, I need to rethink my grudges, and what life is too short to be mad at somebody how they vote or what you think happens. But at the same time, you also have to deal with the fact and come to terms that there are some groups and some people, no matter what you do, they're never going to change.
And of course, bitter Kamala was critical of President Trump.
This individual who occupies our White House right now,
the people's house,
has decided that he will be an emperor in his mind.
Do you sometimes just want to scream, I told y'all so, and feel free to do it right now? I mean,
Sonny, nothing comes to mind.
So if reading her book is like reading her diary, Greg, then indeed watching that episode was like getting into her group therapy where it's all about herself except for the blame.
I'm sorry, maybe it's just me, but
She sounds loaded. And if it ain't booze, I don't know what it is, but she reminds me of every woman at the airport bar whose flight got delayed and she had too many daiquiris because she cannot get out of her mind about the things. And you know, the 107 days wasn't a lot. That's why they called it 107 days. So whenever, because that's the only way she could remember that is if they put it on the book. So they go, why did you lose? Only had 107 days. Why didn't you have a better plan? Only had 107 days. Why are there all these receipts for Xanax? I only had 107 days. She said a lot of people were crying that came up to her. That is just an obvious lie. Nobody was crying unless you ran over their cat. Hi, Kat.
Hey,
How you doing?
not great, honestly.
Really? What's up?
I know, I see this stuff and it, like, look, this might be controversial and maybe people will, whatever. I have to be honest. I am at the point in my political analysis career where I'm starting to think that the Amish have a lot of really good points.
Yeah.
I do. It's like the amount of hate and manipulation that I would not see if I didn't have to look at the internet every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, put me on the carriage, keep me pregnant, I'll churn the out of some butter, let's go. To be clear, I'm not sure I really mean that.
Well,
I'm
no,
not sure
I
really mean
know
that
a guy, Kat.
I don't think I don't think I have the upper body strength for churning the butter. I'm pretty sure I'd be kicked out of Amish very quickly. But it stuff can really make you hopeless when you see a horrible tragedy and then you see people whose first thought is, how can I make sure to not just not, have my side be at fault, but look at the other side and how they're all at fault. And then I'll look at the internet and then my dumb ass will keep looking at the internet, looking for something that makes me feel better, and the longer you look, the worse you feel. Something I've started doing is making sure the first thing I see every morning, I don't look at my phone. The first thing I see every morning is I go wake my son up, and I see him smiling at me.
Yeah.
That is what life is about. That is, like...
Tyrus, last word to you. What do you make of this?
Kat might be onto something with this Amish thing.
Yeah.
I got the beard for it.
Yeah.
How do they feel about mixing? Are they cool with that? Like if I promise to build, not, what was the other thing? Pregnate all the Amish women? If I just focus on building stuff and they let me have an ox, I'm in.
Yes.
You might already be Amish.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. I think it might be, I don't know. Black thing, I don't know. He is exactly who their verbiage is for. So of course he doesn't belong to anything. He's not a part of anything. These individuals that listen to their words, that's their whole point. They don't belong to anything. So they hold on to something. And then when they get an opportunity to be a part of the world, in his case, he had a relationship, and based off the text messages, it was pretty one-sided. So he thought this massive thing he was doing for his partner was going to somehow change things because he was believed in the things that he was hearing. It's always going to be a lost person.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't belong to anything they want to. So they connect themselves to the extremes because those are the only groups that will return their emails. Those are the only chat groups that will listen to what they have to say. You created these poor bastards with your mission because there's one mission. Everyone keeps talking about why don't the Democrats have policies and this? They don't. The extreme left that's taken over the Democratic Party have one mission: end Donald Trump. They're too far deep. They're not going to change, and they'll just keep going and continuing these things because we've said it a million times in this show. If you say someone's Hitler long enough, you're going to have martyrs come out of the woodworks, and it's always these lost souls. So great journalism that you figured out he had no real connections to anything. No, that's why he went out and shot somebody in cold blood.
He was like, president of the Rotary Club.
He had a vibrant social network.
Yes, exactly.
Because if he belonged to a group, they would have talked him out of it.
Yes, that is so true. That's why suicide bombers, there's only just one in a car.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't really carpool for that.
Yeah, they don't go like, let me try to get somebody else. All right.
Thank you. You know what would make that whole thing better?
Bongos.
That's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. Against someone like Donald Trump who knows no floor. To be a black woman running for president of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
Yeah, all right. So I have an actual copy of the book here. There it is. Isn't that lovely? 107 Days. I wasn't sure if she actually had written the book herself, so yeah, she definitely has. Check this out, huh? Look at that. With every copy, Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. It's a great cross promotion for you alkies out there. Yeah, I see, Tyrus, I see this is what's gonna happen with Kimmel. He's gonna come out and said, you know, I watched the memorial and I realized I was wrong. And I'm sorry. That's my prediction.
I think he's being sarcastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that.
No.
I think, unfortunately, what he should do, but it's not, like I said, there's only one agenda, is take down the president. So tonight will be a victory lap. Tonight will be martyrdom. Tonight will be, we did it. They tried to censor us. They tried to stop us.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it. And it was like the whole message was pathetically ignorant to begin with. That's not why you were taken off the air. You know, you were taken off the air because you said terrible things and you lied. And you continuously, it wasn't one thing. He's been doing it for long enough, and there's been a shift in this country where would like to get back to civility. You like to be like, if you don't like somebody, if you don't like their belief systems or whatever, just don't talk about them. Like, be funny, but he's not going to do that. He's going to use this as what he thinks is a rallying cry to bring in, he's going to have huge numbers tonight because other than the 400 actors who need his show to go to a place where they can peddle their I don't think, unless I don't think we're going to wake up tomorrow and be number 2.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's happening, especially with us bringing in the Amish crowd now.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to run away.
Joe, I just want everybody to remember that the loudest voices screaming about Kimmel's suspension said nothing when a broadcaster was murdered, 10 days ago.
Yeah.
They nothing at the Emmys. None of these people said.
Yeah, this is.
We heard a chorus of "We are at war," and that does permeate the entirety of American society. That they hear that from the top. We don't know
garbage.
that much.
That is absolute garbage.
It is.
Continue. When something terrible happens
Greg,
to when somebody gets murdered, you're saying, "How dare you be enraged by it?" Continue.
No,
I'm done.
what I say is, how dare
There is no.
you
I'll give you the both.
blame
No, Jessica, I'll give you the both
millions of-
sides.
Greg, why don't
I
you
agree
let
with
me
you.
finish?
There
We
is
did
both
this
sides.
just a week
On
ago.
one hand, you have the hard left, and on the other hand, you have the left.
Why are you
They're
yelling
both
at
sides of the same coin because you walk into this room. And you're not reading it. There is no both sides. You don't have the evidence for that.
That's not true.
You
Who
can't
shot up
say
the
that Donald
CDC
Trump
and
says
killed
this.
someone?
You guys act on
You
it.
also-
You guys act on it. We don't.
So I get it. You're amped up. I don't think that I said anything worthy of that level of explosion.
Your rationalization of both sides is, you have to understand, since Kurt's death, there is no both sides anymore, Jessica.
Why did the DOJ take down the study that showed how much right-wing extremism?
What study was that? Which one? The one in The Economist that was sponsored by a group run by a guy in Antifa? That study that has been discredited by the Federalists? You're walking down a really bad alley right now.
Federalists?
Yes. Yes, I actually did see, Jessica, I did the deep dive on that study. That study was authored by a project that was run by a guy who says he was an Antifa. That is why that whole thing has been scrubbed, okay? It's real simple. You label someone a fascist or a racist or a Nazi, it makes you free to attack them, and that has been the ideology from the start. It's weird.
So why
No. Let me talk.
Trump does it?
What?
Just tell me why it's okay when Donald Trump
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Great. I'm enjoying this.
Okay. You won't be for long.
You know what it is? It's almost like, it's kind of like what you said, which is like Republicans do something and then they go back to work or they go back to their lives. Democrats don't go back to anything but being Democrats. It's just nonstop. And it's just like, if they just keep pushing it and pushing it, it's like rust never sleeps. It's like the corruption of the Democrats. It doesn't end. Tyrus, what say you?
Well, they're still on the mission.
Yeah.
And it's one of the worst missions ever attempted. Like, they're like, we've got to stop President Trump from being president. He did it thrice.
Yeah.
So, and they refuse to, that is it. It doesn't matter anything else. That's why you never hear another policy come out from them. Like, we don't like your border thing because we think you should use chain link fences instead of bricks on the wall. Okay, let's hear that argument. Is it cheaper? No. We don't like anything you do that the orange guy does. Doesn't matter what it is. He came out and he said that, they came out and they said there might be some issues between taking Tylenol and it could possibly be causing autism with pregnant women. And what do they do? Because President Trump said it, and not all the research has gone back behind it. Even at one point, Tylenol even posted on social media, like, hey,
yes,
maybe don't take this if you're pregnant.
Yes.
Right? You shouldn't take anything if you're pregnant if you can avoid it, right?
Right,
Dr.
that's
Drew
the whole
said that.
point, yeah.
He kind of put it out. What do? They made TikTok videos of them popping Tylenol pills when they're pregnant.
Yeah.
It's one mindset of we have to stop Trump. And even though they're still like, Gavin Newsom is running against Trump in 2028. I don't know how to tell you this, but he's not running in 2028, you moron.
All right. Tyrus, thoughts?
It was what I thought it would be. It was his martyrdom moment. He got a huge bump. They're all high-fiving. All 100 employees are high-fiving this morning because they got 6 million or whatever it was. I think everyone paid attention, and I think people watched to see the reaction. But honestly, I respect the fact that he's not sorry. At least you know where you stand with somebody. There's nothing worse than somebody who's disingenuous and says like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then as soon as you leave, "No, I'm sorry." You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't. Only thing he cared about was he missed days of work. And then he had people who rallied behind him, the elites rallied behind him. They got him back on, and he had to pay tribute to them. So he was the wounded warrior who was misunderstood when he said some wild. You missed the part where I said knock knock. I said knock knock before, and you were supposed to say who's there.
The thing is, they said, Tyra said no foul play, but isn't that what you'd expect the guilty to say?
Oh, it was foul play.
Yeah.
It was, but there was little morons in the little back, little sensitive man buttons. We got them. So here's what you do, Mr. President. For each one of those things, let's raise NATO's prices 1% for each screw up, because obviously we need to put more money to cover the meeting with more protection. So was it 5% right now they have to pay? Let's jump that bad boy up to 7%. Is everyone still laughing?
Yeah.
Does everyone still want to talk about the escalator? So I like what the president did. The best part is like all their little things. I think the problem is that they were setting these traps for Biden. They thought Biden was going to win, and they set these traps for him. Because if the escalator didn't work, he'd still be there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then even worse, if the teleprompter broke,
yes,
we'd all still be at the TV like this. So they try to do mouse traps with a bear. So I hope the president hits him in the pocket. Throw some tariffs on their ass. Anybody that laughed about it or anybody who was around, whoever went up the escalator last, hit them with some tariffs too, man. Just go scorched earth on them.
Today's left thrives on declaring their enemies evil. But us, we mock, we ridicule, we call people dumb, lazy, fat, wrong. But not demons, not Hitler. That's the left's game. Because once you decide your opponent is Hitler, then anything goes. Violence becomes justified. And then when some mentally ill kid takes their cue, you guys just shrug, well, it's both sides. No. The bombs under Fox News trucks, the ICE raid protests, the vandalized memorials, the bullets etched with anti-ICE, it's all coming from one direction. And the pattern is real. Screwed up loners get pointed at the approved enemies. So what is it about the left's reflex to say both sides following a murder? When a police officer comforts a grieving widow, does he say, your husband could be really rude at times? What's the impulse behind bringing it up at all? It's a rationalization to protect you from realizing you might be wrong. It arises from that pit in your stomach where the guilt resides. Saying both sides shields your ego. And you got to wonder, why do surveys show that Charlie's murder was justified to so many young Democrats? Because he's conservative, Christian? If that's the case, then anybody with that label is marked for death. But remember, Charlie was only on the planet for 31 years and in the public eye for just a few. The people in the survey probably never heard of him until his death. That, my friends, is brainwash. So don't give me both sides. There's one side that screams Nazi and shrugs when violence follows, and there's the other side who's ducking and hoping they miss. You're right. Tyrus, what say you? Let's be petty.
All right, short stuff. Let's. I think the problem is that the ideology, the blanket, the camouflage. I think what the right has to do is they start having to attach who these people are to them directly. So you're not saying all left is racist, but when someone like Joy Reid, you say anti-white black supremacist Joy Reid was on the news today. You know, anti-white men AOC was on the news today. Pro-shooter such and such was on the news today. I think when you start attaching the deeds to the individual, that's the chance for the group to be like, well, no, I'm not anti-white. What are you talking about? That's who you support. Well, I'm not anti-white. But right now, it's the right doesn't really do anything. They just say, oh, don't say that. But we need to start saying like, oh, this, that, and other. Also, you need to say things like, I will not. Anti-white black supremacist Joy Reid made these comments about something. We will not be airing that because we don't support that kind of talk on our shows. That's what needs to happen. You have to take a stand and look at the person directly, which they won't do because they want to blanket everything. That's why you say Hitler is what liars do. That's what narcissists do. Whenever you call them out on something, there's always a reason for it. You're like, well, why are you supporting this? Well, because the right did this. Not like, well, you know what? I overthought things and my bad. That's what an adult does. So we have to be the adult in the room and start calling out the individuals because as the list gets longer, the credibility goes away. And people will stop wanting to be like that person because there is no public shaming because they're covered behind that left thing. We have to start calling them out. Just like I can't stand it when I was growing up and they're like, all black young men will steal, you know? And it was like, no, say Tyrone did that. Don't put it on me.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't do it.
So are all black men named Tyrone?
You could be.
You know, even the Democrats don't even care about this. They don't care.
You know, I've seen some people say, well, this is beneath the office of the presidency. And I get how you can make that argument as long as you can say that something else that may have been beneath the office of the presidency was being senile.
Yes.
Like, if you're more offended by this than the fact that this happened, then if you want to think it's immature, childish, it is childish, all that. But if you're not, but you won't let that go. But you're easily going to let go of the fact that there was a man who didn't know what was going on as a leader of the free world for years.
Yeah.
And that doesn't bother you, then that's something that I truly do not understand. Because not only do you not know what's going on, clearly we could all see it. The amount of institutional gaslighting that we were all subjected to, like we were all idiots without eyeballs, is something that I don't know that I will ever get over.
Yeah, it's incredible, and no one's been called into. There should be some kind of commission on this. Isn't it great that he's managed to introduce humor into places no one ever thought of?
Well, it's the wrong kind of humor.
Yeah.
This is the type of humor like you're just getting a divorce and you're coming to get your stuff and your wife has put pictures up with you and your side chick all over the house.
Yeah. Has that
And
happened?
it's like, no. But you can't acknowledge it. That's why the left are like, they can't say anything because the auto pen is a real deal.
Right.
There's an investigation, something happens. So it's kind of like you want to say, take it down, man, but you can't because, well, why? What's the problem?
Right.
Did you do something?
You
know, like you just.
That's so true. That's why they're not saying anything.
You can't say anything because they were like, take that auto pen down, and they'll be like, we will when you do.
Yeah.
Like, who signed what? What pardon was this and that? They're all terrified. Like, there's a Supreme Court justice was put into office and didn't know what a woman was. Who signed that paper? I have a feeling that's the handiwork of that damn auto pen. He was a sarcastic son of a bitch, so he should get the auto pen ran the White House. He should get his picture up there.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Peanut Butter Cup lawsuit victory. Tyrus, this is so exciting. A judge dismissed a class action lawsuit against Hershey's, which claimed the packaging on their Halloween peanut butter cups had tricked customers because the candy did not match, as you can tell, the spooky designs, the little smile there on the wrappers. The judge ruled that although this discrepancy disappointed people, it didn't cause economic harm. And it made me think, I wanted to ask you, is there an analogy in life where a product, a thing, and its external packaging is vastly different?
Yes, any woman you meet on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, if they had won this lawsuit, you could sue everyone.
Oh, yeah, everyone would be suing.
Yes.
Any man who married a woman who had like a lot of plastic surgery and didn't tell them about it.
Yeah.
And then when they have their kids and you have these hideous kids and you can't figure out why. And then lo and behold, you go to Thanksgiving for the family dinner and you see her high school pictures and you're just...
Yeah. Her whole family is like the end of that Twilight Zone episode where they're all pigs.
They have the pig noses.
Yes.
And like first Reese's me and now this. I'll see you in court, milady.
I don't think I've ever said this about anybody, and I don't think it's ever been true about anybody. He'd be better off if he watched more porn.
Yes.
You're not watching enough pornography, sir.
That's true. That's true.
I think his life would actually improve.
Tyrus, what do you got?
Well, a man of Keith Olbermann's stature really only needs a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
He needs a sock, some baby oil, and a mirror so he can go himself. Walk off.
That was just a way for Tyrus to leave early. If it walks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, but eats like an elephant, it's probably Joy Behar. See, that's petty, but it's not deadly. No one goes after Joy Behar when I say she's fat. I don't say she's a threat to democracy, just a threat to an all-you-can-eat buffet. In the hierarchy of slurs, fat jokes don't come close to Hitler. When you call someone a brain-dead asshat, the worst thing that happens is Keith Olbermann gets the help he needs. But call someone Hitler, the worst thing that happens is somebody believes you. And suddenly there are sirens. And that's the real problem for Dems. Demonization has become their only tool. They're like a kid who lost all his toys but still clutches one broken action figure. The rest has been stolen because they made theft legal. So what should they do? Well, they could give my advice a shot and start with me. Call me short, loud, wrong, obnoxious, stupid, idiotic, mindless, infantile, smelly. I'll take it. Mostly because I know it's not true, but also because that's how you let off steam. That's how you diffuse violence, insults, ridicule, mockery. In the old days, that's how we dealt with differences, not by calling us Hitler. And if you don't agree with me, well, let's hearken back to a great-looking host from 15 years ago. What did he used to say? If you disagree with me, then, sir, you are worse than Hitler. If you disagree with me, then you, sir, are worse than Hitler. If you disagree with me, then you, sir, are worse than Hitler. Oh. That face. That big, fat face. It's kind of sad, though, that a running joke from a late-night show from 15 years ago has become the entire Democratic platform. I had more power than I thought. Howard Stern announced he canceled his Disney Plus to protest the suspension of Kimmel. Wow, Disney's never going to get that $9.99 back. So brave. I'm not sure why Stern said it on the air. He could have just called his remaining listener and told him directly.
I'm I'm not sure I really understand your analogy, so I hope we can discuss it now. I do agree that calling someone fat is not as bad as calling someone Hitler.
Yes.
Where you lose me is how that automatically means that calling someone fat is heroic.
I am, Kat, the Rosa Parks of calling people fat.
Oh. Wow.
Okay, that's not really an answer.
I refuse to sit in the back of the bus of fat jokes.
Okay, so what you just did is attempt to use shock value to not answer my question.
Are you?
I don't really get. I guess I don't really understand.
I think what I'm trying to say is if you want to criticize somebody and you don't like them, at least insult them. Don't call them Nazis. I'm just trying to get them to I'm trying to them to like let off some steam that makes them feel good without putting our lives in danger.
There's better ways to let off steam than calling people fat.
But they're not bright.
And look, I love comedy. My life's comedy. I love it. I love performing. I don't do the fat jokes. But since you said at the end that you're really open to hearing whatever, you're not gonna get upset. There is something I've been meaning to tell you for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I think that now might be the time for me to do it. Should I do it?
Do
Yes.
it.
Okay. I don't feel like Joy Behar is fat. When I look at her, I'm not like, whoa, look at that fat lady. I have huge problems with a lot of the things she said, okay?
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. She's 82 years old. She looks great.
Well, to be
Thank
fair,
you, one person, and everyone else who's too afraid to admit it.
That was Joy Behar, by the way, who clapped. And you know what? She did it with her hooves. Tyrus, last word to you. I love how you're sitting.
Well, I'm hiding from the camera during that Rosa Parks. I think it's safe now to come back out.